I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-Minute Convos, where I help you create a brand of your own unique real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Angie Greenup. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful day?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Sure, it's a great pleasure to connect with you. Please do tell us, what part of the world are you in right now, Angie?
I live in Los Angeles, which is currently on fire, quite literally. I'm sure you've seen what's been going on here.
Yeah. How are you doing in that?
Good. We're luckily not close to any of the multiple fires that are happening right now. But it's been probably like 4 days of fires, so the air smells. I mean, I just stepped outside and it was pretty smoky, even though we're probably at least 10 miles away from the closest fire. It smells pretty rough out there.
Wow.
It's really crazy.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're safe.
Yes, me too. It's really awful.
Yeah.
But on a lighter note...
It is what it is, isn't it, though? Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
I believe it's podcasting, because you had reached out to me on LinkedIn and said that you were some of the people that you were interviewing for your podcast was podcasters. So I believe that's how you found me.
I did. Podcaster equal family, family equal podcaster. So
I love it.
Yeah. So do tell us about your podcast, please.
So I co-host a comedic parenting podcast called First Timers. And basically every episode we take on a first that anyone would go through as a parent, like first time your kid pooped in the bathtub, or first time your child swore at you, everything. We take the funny things. We even take on some heavier topics, but we always even put a comedic twist on that. Just my co-host and I are both moms, and we decided to take our comedic, our love for comedy and put it into a podcast and share some stories.
That sounds like fun. Ooh, first timers. Love it. So, who did you learn the skill of understanding that sharing lightens things up?
Where did I learn the skill?
Yeah, of share. Because, all right, so what it seems to be you're doing is lightening up things that can cause veins in your head to pop, right?
Oh, yes.
So who did you learn that from, that sharing these things definitely lighten things up?
I think this goes way back to when I was a kid. I was overweight as a child, and I learned pretty quickly that if you make people laugh, they won't make fun of you because they're too busy laughing at what you're saying. So I've always used laughter as a way to lighten the mood, as a way to kind of get people on my side. And I think as a parent, you have to be able to use laughter and comedy to get through the day, basically. Yeah. So it really works for sharing stories about parenting.
That's amazing. It's amazing how one thing connected to the next thing, isn't it? That something that was your possibly at the time weakness turned out to be something that is now a strength that you share with others.
Exactly.
Ooh. So why will you continue to repeat that skill of bringing comedy to, all I keep seeing is the poop in the bathtub.
It's not pretty. I mean, but as a parent, when moments like that happen, you have this moment where you freak out and you panic. And then a few seconds later, you realize, like, all I can do is laugh. Like, this situation is so ridiculous. I've had so many moments like that. My son's only 2. I've only been going at this for 2 years. But I learned pretty early on that even the most disgusting, worst, awful, embarrassing situations with your kids, you can really take a moment to step back and be like, this is so ridiculous. All I can do is laugh. So I try to do that every day.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Well, we could definitely change your name from Angie Greenup to Angie Cleanup, right?
Angie Cleanup Poop. I also have 2 dogs, so I feel like the amount of poop I deal with on a daily basis is just like, it's out of control.
Yeah, yeah. It's really fascinating how, as humans, we've found a way to not work around or even just have conversations around the things that we all face in life. And we go for all the pretty things, if you would. I'm glad that you're bringing to reality.
Oh, yeah, I'll talk about poop, vomit, boogers, whatever you want, man.
That's wonderful. Angie, do tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
So, I host a YouTube show, and I started it back in 2014. And when I first started, I was posting every single day or every single weekday at least. And then once I had a kid, I switched to once a week because that just was more reasonable when you have a child. But I've been consistently posting my YouTube videos now for, over 3 years. My channel is called Angie Eats It All, and it's dedicated to my love of eating and food. And I basically review junk food and fast food. I overall eat pretty healthy and exercise, and I take care of myself, but I have a weak spot for junk food. And so I love to just try the crazy new Burger King thing or the newest Frappuccino at Starbucks. So my channel's basically dedicated to that.
That's wonderful. Oh, just like her image, I'll tell you, amazing audience, on her Skype, as I thought it was a burger or a sandwich, definitely saw what looked like bread. She corrected me quickly to let me know, what was it again, Angie?
It's a glazed donut stuffed with ice cream in the middle.
There we go. And we spoke
about I drove over an hour to the place that sells these things in Los Angeles. I heard about them. My husband's also a dessert lover, so I was like, hey, we got to go try these warm glazed donuts that are stuffed with ice cream. It's an hour drive. Are you in? And he's like, yeah, I'm in. I mean, we're just the sort of people who will drive an hour for an amazing dessert. And it was worth it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you suggest to someone who's listening? I mean, just in our pre-conversation, you did say you came straight out of the gym, yeah? So it's not as though you're eating junk and not exercising, throwing that off. Why would you suggest to someone that they do incorporate some type of joy in their lives? Yours is food. For them, it may be something else.
Oh, man. I think you just have to make time for it. It's like almost something you need to schedule in. You need to find something that you enjoy doing. And like, if it takes literally putting it in your calendar and blocking space for it, do it. I mean, that's how I've found a way to get back into exercising after having a kid, because it's something that I used to do before having a child that was really important to me, that felt like a part of who I was. And I started to miss it, and I couldn't find a way to squeeze it in my schedule. And so I literally just sit down with a calendar now. And every week I plot out the days I'm going to work out and at what times. And that way it's just like a part of my day, and I can't miss out on it. And even if it's hard to get it in, I feel so good afterwards. So I think anything that you love to do, any sort of hobby, anything, you kind of just have to force yourself to make time for it, and you'll always be glad you did afterwards.
I love it. Well, amazing audience, you're hearing it live here from Angie Greenup again, the co-host of First Timers YouTube channel, poster, if you would. You could definitely get that at youtube.com, Angie Eats It All. Angie, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Angie, what is your earliest childhood memory?
I think my earliest childhood memory is my parents. I didn't know this was what was happening because I was too young to realize what was going on, but they were taking my pacifier away from me. I slept with a pacifier till an age that was probably a little too old to sleep with it, because I remember it. So I know it was old enough to, I think your first memories start at like age 4 or 5. And I slept with a pacifier, and I just have this memory crying, like wanting that pacifier to sleep, and my parents saying, we can't find it, but we'll find it. Just go to bed. We'll find it. And that's my only memory, is that moment. And my mom claims that I never asked for it again. Like the next morning I woke up and it's just like it had never existed. And I'm like, what? Is that really what happened? Wow. But yeah, that's my earliest memory.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
Uh, well, my son currently sleeps with a pacifier still. And so I always say, well, one of my earliest memories is sleeping with a pacifier. And I was too old to probably be sleeping with it. And I turned out fine. So clearly it's fine if he's still using a pacifier. So that's how it's very connected to who I currently am.
Oh, that's
It's maybe
intriguing.
sort of more laid back about that aspect of parenting, I guess. Like, I turned out fine. So he will too.
Yeah. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
I love the idea of our conversation and how it involves being mindful with the thing you desire. And I'd like to connect the dots to say that it really is a concentrated decision to be in connect with the thing you love. The pacifier did pass, right? And that's, I mean, at that age, who knows what happened, right? With your mind, it fell off and la la la. But definitely connecting the dots to you realizing now, in order to have the things in life that you desire, the things you love, the things that wouldn't really do that much bad to you, is something that you need to be intentional with. That, my friend, is pretty intriguing to me.
Wow. I like that.
If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Okay, I'm going to tell you how old I am by saying this, but I was 12 in 1993,
All right.
and Mariah Carey was on the top. So I would probably say Dream Lover by Mariah Carey. Do you know it?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. It
So
makes sense, right? How that
I
connects.
loved
to-
R&B. Like,
Yeah.
90s R&B is still my favorite genre of music. So, like, Mariah, Boyz II Men, Janet Jackson, those were, like, my top jams in that time.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think it connects and it's fascinating. I mean, definitely Dream Lover is what it takes to connect you to the thing you love. So it starts with the dream and then you put it in the calendar, just like she said, right? And then you get it done, right?
I try.
Well, I'm looking at the donut here with the ice cream in it. It seems as though you get some in.
I do spend plenty of time with my one true love, which is food.
There we go. Well, Angie, we have now arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Sure.
Angie, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I saw this question and I don't know how to. No, I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
Are you married?
I am.
Do you have children? Yes, you have one son, right? He's
Yes.
2 right now. Do
Yep.
you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Do I have? I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah, cool. It's my accent. So usually Americans say inner, right? But in Trinidad, we say inner, right? Yeah. So do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes.
What about screen time, the phone or and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less than 8.
If you, Angie, had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Angie Greenup, what would you say that is?
Love, laugh, and eat.
I love it. LLE. Beats LLC. Angie, again, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Oh, no. I just want to thank you for having me on. I think what you're doing is so awesome. And I wish you luck on the rest of your journey.
I appreciate that. Angie, thank you again for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com And for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.